Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? So I figured it's about time that I get up off my ass and make a government shutdown video. Or, because lots of strange things are afoot in Washington. So I've been holding off so far because I wanted to see what'll happen, and to be honest, over the last couple years, I haven't made any videos about any of the other debt crises that we've had, like for instance the sequester or stuff like that, because I pretty much thought it was all bullshit. I never really thought that it would actually get this far. And the thing about it, it's because I don't really understand how this actually happened. Because if you remember, the last time that the government actually shut down was in the 90s, 17 years ago, right? And very similar situation to this. And what happened then was that the Republicans that were led at that time by Newt Gingrich, I think, was the speaker. I don't know, I could be wrong about that. But anyway, they had a thing called Contract with America or something like that, and they basically tried to enact their agenda by holding spending bills hostage. Essentially the same thing that's going on now. See, I mean, here's the thing, people don't understand is that this kind of rabid obstructionism, right, that we've got right now against Obama, like, it's nothing new. They did the same thing against Bill Clinton back in the day. They filibustered his bills, or they wouldn't let them come to a vote, which is technically filibustering. They, there was all these ridiculous conspiracy theories about Bill Clinton, like the Clinton murder list and shit like that, and, Hillary's a lesbian and like all these other, things that had no fucking basis in reality. I mean, come on, like we haven't seen that now with Obama. And as well as that, also, the obstructionism, what they did to Bill Clinton is that they tried to dig up dirt on him. There were all these ridiculous, like, investigations that went nowhere, like Whitewater and all this other shit. Went fucking nowhere, and they finally got him because he got a little bit of oral sex in the fucking Oval Office, right? And so that's what they did. And so they're trying to do the same thing against Obama, and basically he's not getting any oral sex, so they can't stop him. So they're doing everything they can to ruin his legacy, like, and this is all part of that. And it's exactly right, because it's not about spending. See, a thing that I saw today was that the Republicans, actually, the latest development as of this morning, like, they put forward a proposal to fund the government for another 6 weeks because the debt ceiling is coming up, and they want to pass it because if the debt ceiling expires, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, then that could result in like a worldwide economic meltdown, right? And even the fucking idiotic Tea Party people aren't as insane as to let that happen. At least I hope they're not. I don't know, maybe they fucking are. I don't know. But so that was their proposal today. And but they don't want to fund the rest of the government. And another thing that I read was that Obama invited them all to come talk to him at the White House, and like something like 215 or 217 of them didn't come. So it's just really, shit's happening like every day in regards to this story. It's hard to keep up with, but it's not about money, because if it was about actual spending, right, then they would, propose things that they want to cut. And it's about, first off, it's about ruining Obama's legacy, like I was saying before, like it's about Obamacare. So they weren't able to stop Obamacare, right? Thus far, like the Affordable Health Care Act, that's Obama's signature achievement in his presidency so far. At least that's his biggest one. That's the thing that people are going to remember him for. And October 1st came, and that was when people could first start signing up to these healthcare exchanges, right? And that's when this whole thing started. When they refused to fund the government because they wanted to repeal it or they wanted to push it back. They wanted to do anything they could to stop people from signing up, because now two things come into effect now on October 1st, and that was you know, the subsidies come in, right? And the fact that they can't drop people or they can't refuse people treatment also comes in, right? And they're afraid that if people sign up for Obamacare that they're gonna like it, and then they'll never be able to fucking repeal it. And, you know, and that's why this whole fucking thing started, and that's why the, you know, the fucking Tea Partiers have decided to, like, play with, like, the entire well-being of the entire nation, you know? And it's just really sad, and I didn't think this would happen because, if you remember, getting back to the 90s, it turned out very badly for the Republicans back then, you know? The approval ratings just went through the floor for, you know, and it pretty much broke the back of the GOP. And Clinton finally was able to get some shit going through Congress after that, you know, after that fiasco. And I didn't think that they were dumb enough to do it again, because the exact same fucking thing's happening now. Like right now, the approval rating for the GOP is somewhere at 28%, right? Congress as a whole is like less than 10%. I mean, I think it was like 5 or 7. It's ridiculous, you know, like everybody hates the fact that this is happening and everyone is blaming the Republicans for it. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, it's a joke, you know, but it's not about money. I mean, so, well, if it's not about money, right, you know, and it's about ruining Obama, but I don't think that's the only reason why they're doing this. I mean, if you really think about what a government shutdown accomplishes, right? Like, what happens when there's a shutdown and you cut all non-discretionary spending? Well, you keep discretionary spending, as in things like the military and, you know, Social Security, right? Because they can't even touch that either. And that's a big, like, you know, that's on the hit list too for the GOP, but they can't touch it in this particular thing. So what they are doing, what the GOP has been doing, as they've been sending proposals to fund certain parts of the government that they like. You know, for instance, they sent a thing to fund, you know, national parks, because that's a big thing that's in the news and stuff like that, right? So they're trying to put pieces of the government back together, but the things that they're not funding are like all the oversight, you know, like the FDA, you know, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, you know, education, stuff like that. And if you really think about it, like, that's exactly what they want. They want those parts of the government to be shut down, you know? This is what all the corporate backers, like, you know, the fucking Koch brothers and shit like that, that's what they want. They want to remove this oversight, you know, from this government oversight of their business. I mean, what exactly does the EPA do? You know, it regulates the environment, you know, it regulates what businesses can put into the environment, essentially, you know, by passing things like, you know, enforcing things like the Clean Air Act, stuff like that. It's basically saying you're not allowed to pollute, or you can pollute under these levels, or it has to remain under here, whatever, right? They want to remove that oversight so that they can do whatever they want. You know, the same thing with labor laws, you know, they want to remove those. They want to remove environmental laws. They want to remove healthcare. They you know, think about why do they want to get rid of healthcare? You know, why do they want to get rid of subsidies on your healthcare? So they can charge you as much as they want and make billions and billions of dollars without any oversight. You know, that's what the entire thing's all about. That's why they don't want to, you know, there's a hardcore group of Tea Party Republicans that are funded by these people, funded by the Koch brothers and things like that. And that's why they didn't go to talk to the president, you know, when they're invited. And it's really kind of, you know, disgusting. I mean, if you think about, like, what exactly does that do? You know, like, it removes, so you can't, you know, you have no oversight on your business, right? Think about their agenda, okay? Like, what exactly is the agenda of the Tea Party Republicans, right? I won't even say the GOP, because lots of Republican senators and House members are urging to get back and, like, pass a bill, you know, a spending bill. It's not even them. There's a very small group of, like, hardcore Tea Party people that are, like, keeping this shit from happening. You know, they're keeping the government shut down. And it's basically, you know, all the stupid anti-government libertarian rhetoric that you hear from these people is essentially enacting a very corporate agenda. You know, that's what it is. You know, they're anti-healthcare, they're anti-environment, they're anti-labor laws, they're anti-trade. You know, they're very pro like enforcing the borders and things like that. right? But not when it comes to like actually employing people that sneak over the border, you know? So they divide people on social issues, right? And they could couple it with the social issues too. Like a lot of these people are very, they're anti, you know, abortion, right? They're anti women's rights. They want women back in the fucking kitchen, you know, barefoot and pregnant, making fucking pancakes and shit, right? They're very any civil rights type thing. You know, Rand Paul says he wouldn't have voted for the Civil Rights Act or whatever. They want to remove those restrictions, right? They want to remove any type of minimum wage, anything like that. And what would that do to us? I mean, it would basically put us back, you know, if not, it'd be like slavery almost. I mean, if not official slavery like it was back in the 1860s and shit, it'll at least bring us back to a point where it's like virtual corporate, you know, fiefdoms, like in the 1890s in the Gilded Age. You know, if you ever read, you know, read your fucking history and see what life was like back then. You know, all of the improvements that we have now, right, didn't exist back then, okay? Like people used to work for 15 hours a day, and you'd pay men different than you would pay women, and then you'd have fucking children that should be in school and shit, like working in factories and stuff, right? And you'd pay them fucking pennies, and then you'd pay black people less than you'd pay white people, and then you could just fire people for no reason, you know, sexual harassment. You don't want to give me a blowjob under my desk, then fucking you get fired. If you like broke your arm, there was no like worker protections, you know, you break your fucking arm, you get fired. You know, if you try to form a union, they would just hire guys to come and like shoot you, you know, union busters like Pinkertons and shit like that. You know, there were no rules about how they couldn't like pollute, you know, they could just pollute whatever the fuck they want, or they could put any kind of like, they could sell any kind of toxic shit in their products, you know, and fuck it, people die, oh well, that's the magic of the fucking marketplace. I mean, think about all the stupid shit that the libertarians are saying to you. You know, they want to remove all of these protections. It's the marketplace will take care of it. Well, the fucking marketplace didn't actually take care of shit back then. You know, it was the people got together to pass some laws enforced by the government that's directly responsible for our quality of life right now, okay? I mean, just the quality of fucking life, you know, the fact that you have an 8-hour workday to get overtime, you know, stuff like that. I mean, people take this shit for granted, you know, and they don't realize that that wasn't always there. It didn't always exist. But anyway, all right, I'm getting off track. Let's get back to the fucking government shutdown. So it's really just disgusting, you know, and I don't see any way that I don't understand why they're doing it. I don't see how they could possibly come out on top, how they think they're going to come out on top. I don't get it. You know, the polls are already like, everybody hates the fucking Republicans now, and I wouldn't be surprised that if in the next election, because there's an election next year, you know, 2014, there's like midterms, right? It wouldn't surprise me if they lose both the House and the Senate, and probably a lot of state, you know, governorships and like state representatives and shit like that. And except there's a group in the House that have like extremely gerrymandered districts. Those people will probably stay, but all the ones that are like, you know, vulnerable are probably going to get, you know, toasted. I mean, something really fucking bad is going to have to happen to the Democrats in order for them to fuck this election up. You never know. I've never seen a group of, you know, a political party or a group of people that were better at fucking themselves up than the Democrats. So we'll see what happens in the next election, but I'd just be very, very surprised if they don't turn this to their advantage. And I just don't understand. I don't know who the fuck is making the decisions up there. Personally, it makes me kind of happy to see that the Republicans are no longer in lockstep like they used to be, but whatever. Hopefully, you know, they finally get together and before shit hits the fan and you know, they raise the fucking debt ceiling at least, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. But before I leave, I just want to say one more thing. This is a perfect example of why who you vote for matters, okay? Right now, these are the people that were elected in 2010 and 2012, the Tea Party movement, right? The insane Republicans that said all the stupid shit that people used to make fun of on the news and got elected anyway. These are the people who are causing this problem. So back, you know, think back 2 and 4 years, you know, when those elections were happening and everybody was like, I can't believe these people are fucking running and who the hell. We're suffering the consequences of that right now, okay? This is the consequences of having a dumbed down electorate, all right? Of having of having corporate media like Fox News and shit tell people lies. This is what fucking happens when your media is right-wing, when you have talking heads on the fucking radio like Rush Limbaugh and like Michael Mevden and all these stupid assholes like brainwashing people and telling them lies constantly over and over and over. You know, you notice right now they're trying to say like, oh, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't affect your life, but it's just not working, you know. And I'm happy maybe these assholes will finally see the light too and be like, hey, we do need a government. But you know, but this is what fucking happens. This is what happens when you're not like politically active, when you don't learn, when you know, they call them low information voters, they should be calling them fucking no information voters. You know, when these people get elected and people like Michelle Bachmann get elected, they fuck everything up, and that's what's going on right now. Everything is getting fucked up, and I don't know, what are we gonna do? You know, I don't know. Call them. Call your fucking congressman, send them letters, send them emails, go on their Facebook page, you know, go on John Boner's fucking Facebook page and leave a comments, you know, send him an actual letter, like get a letter and write it, you know, John Boner quit being an asshole, sincerely everybody in America, send it to his ass, you know, because they have people still, you know, because their fucking staffers and shit weren't hit by the goddamn shutdown. So, right, that's pretty much it, and we'll see. Well, hopefully that we'll fucking be able to turn shit around before it's too fucking late and the, you know, the worldwide fucking economy just collapses. I don't know, folks. Either that's gonna happen or else it's like Armageddon, and maybe all the insane fucking prepper people were right. Maybe we should have been like buying canned peas and like shotguns and stuff. I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. Adios, folks.